The rain lashed against the floor-to-ceiling windows of the penthouse, mirroring the cold, calculated chaos that was William Vance's life. As the city's most feared financier, and its most elegant monster, William rarely found anything worth keeping. Until he saw Leo. Leo was a scholarship student working the coat check at a high-stakes gala. He was soft edges, wide eyes, and a clumsy grace that made William's predatory heart skip a beat. William stood by the mahogany desk, his assistant, Marcus, hovering nervously with a tablet full of names to be liquidated. "Marcus," William interrupted, his voice like velvet over gravel. "The boy from the gala. Is he here?" "He's in the lobby, Mr. Vance. He thinks he's here for a standard delivery job." "Sir, are you sure about this?" "He's just a student." William's eyes darkened, a faint, sharp smile touching his lips. "That's exactly why he's perfect. Send him up. And Marcus, leave us." A few minutes later, the heavy oak doors creaked open. Leo stepped in, clutching a delivery package to his chest like a shield. His oversized sweater swallowed his frame, making him look even more fragile. Hello. I have a package for a Mr. Vance." Leo stammered, his eyes darting around the opulent, dimly lit office. William didn't move from the shadows. "Put it on the desk, Leo." Leo jumped at the sound of his name. "How do you know who I am?" William stepped into the light, his tailored suit fitting him like armor. He walked a slow, predatory circle around the boy. "I know everything I choose to know. For instance, I know you take the 6:15 bus, you like your coffee with too much sugar, and you're currently trembling." I should go," Leo whispered, his face flushing a deep pink. He turned to leave, but William's hand shot out, slamming the door shut and leaning over Leo, trapping him against the wood. "Why the rush?" William murmured, his breath brushing Leo's ear. "I've spent 3 weeks making sure you'd end up in this room. I'm not letting you walk out so easily." Leo looked up, his pulse visible in his neck. "You're the man from the news. People say you're dangerous." "People are usually right," William said, his hand moving to gently tilt Leo's chin up. His thumb traced Leo's lower lip with a possessive heat. "But I could be your greatest protector. Or your most beautiful nightmare. Which would you prefer? I don't even know you." Leo cried, though he didn't pull away. "You will," William promised, his eyes burning with an intensity that bordered on madness. "You're going to stay here, Leo. In this building. Under my care. I'll give you the world, but in exchange, you belong to me. Every breath, every thought." "That's crazy," Leo breathed, his heart hammering. "You're obsessed." William leaned in, his nose brushing Leo's. "Obsession is such a small word for what I feel. I want to consume you, Leo. I want to see if you taste as sweet as you look." The penthouse was no longer just a home, it was a curated sanctuary designed for a single inhabitant. Every book on the shelf was one Leo had mentioned in passing, every meal prepared by the private chefs was a childhood favorite he'd once whispered about in his sleep. William watched it all through the security feed in his private study, his fingers tracing the outline of Leo's face on the screen. Leo sat on the edge of a massive, velvet-draped bed, staring at the wardrobe. It was filled with silks and cashmeres that cost more than his entire college tuition. The door clicked open, and William stepped in, discarding his suit jacket. "Do the clothes suit you?" William asked, his voice echoing in the vast room. Leo stood up, his hands trembling. "William, I can't stay here. My exams, my roommate, Toby, he'll be looking for me. You can't just keep a person." William walked toward him, the calm in his eyes more terrifying than anger. "Toby has been told you received an international internship. His rent has been paid for the next year. As for your exams, you've already passed. I've seen to the records." Leo's eyes widened. "You've ruined my life." "I've perfected it," William corrected, reaching out to tuck a stray hair behind Leo's ear. Leo flinched, but William didn't let go. He stepped closer, forcing Leo to back up until his calves hit the bed. "No more cold buses. No more shifts at the gala. Just me." The heavy atmosphere was broken by a sharp knock. The door swung open before William could grant permission. Julian, William's younger brother and the black sheep of the Vance empire, leaned against the frame with a wicked smirk. "So, it's true," Julian drawled, eyeing Leo with predatory curiosity. The Ice King finally melted for a little sparrow. William's entire posture shifted. He stepped in front of Leo, shielding him from Julian's gaze. Get out, Julian. Now. Relax, big brother. I just wanted to see what was so special that you've skipped 3 board meetings for, Julian said, taking a step into the room. He looked at Leo and winked. He's cute. A bit fragile, though. Does he know you're the one who shut down his father's old bakery 10 years ago? Leo's breath hitched. What? William's hand tightened into a fist. Julian, if you say another word, I will ensure you never speak again. Just keeping things honest. Julian laughed, raising his hands in mock surrender as he backed away. Enjoy your prize, William. Just don't break him too fast. The door slammed shut, leaving a suffocating silence behind. Leo looked at William, his eyes filling with tears. Is it true? Leo whispered. My dad, he lost everything because of a faceless corporation. Was that you? William turned, his expression unreadable. He walked to Leo and sank to his knees, wrapping his arms around the boy's waist and burying his face in Leo's stomach. It was a gesture of total submission and total possession. The world is a cruel place, Leo, William muffled against the fabric of Leo's sweater. I didn't know you then. But I know you now. Everything I took from your family, I will give back to you 1,000 times over. Just don't look at me with hate. I can handle your fear, but I cannot handle your hate. Leo looked down at the man at his feet, the most powerful man in the city, reduced to a beggar for his affection. You're a monster, Leo sobbed, even as his fingers instinctively brushed through William's dark hair. I am, William whispered, looking up with a dark, passionate hunger. And I am your monster. No one else will ever touch you. No one else will ever see you. You are the only beautiful thing I own. William stood up, his face inches from Leo's. He didn't wait for permission this time, he pressed his lips to Leo's in a kiss that tasted of desperation and salt. The air in the penthouse turned frigid. The revelation that William hadn't just closed a business, but had systematically destroyed Leo's father, leading to a spiral of debt and a broken spirit that Leo's father never recovered from, shattered the glass walls of the sanctuary. Leo pushed William away with a strength born of pure, raw grief. Get off me! Leo screamed, his voice cracking. My father, he died thinking he was a failure. He spent his last years apologizing to me because he couldn't keep the lights on. And it was you. You did it for a real estate project. William stood up slowly, his face hardening back into the mask of the ruthless CEO. It was business, Leo. Long before I knew your name. I was clearing a block for the Vance Towers. I didn't even see the names of the tenants. That's the problem. Leo sobbed, grabbing a crystal vase from the nightstand and hurling it at the wall. It shattered into 1,000 jagged diamonds. To you, we were just names on a spreadsheet. To me, he was everything. And now you have me trapped here like some trophy. I hate you, William. I hate you more than I've ever hated anything. William didn't flinch at the shattered glass or the insults. He stepped over the debris, his eyes burning with a terrifying, dark possessiveness. Hate me, then, William hissed, pinning Leo's wrists against the headboard of the bed. Hate me until it consumes you. But you will do it from inside this room. You are never leaving, Leo. Not today, not ever. 3 days of silence followed. Leo refused to eat, staring at the walls until William forced him into a tuxedo. Tonight is the foundation gala, William commanded, adjusting Leo's bowtie with clinical precision. You will stand by my side. You will smile. If you try to run, I will make sure your roommate Toby never finds work in this city again. Do you understand? Leo looked at his reflection, he looked like a doll. A beautiful, hollowed-out doll. You're a demon, he whispered. I'm a man who keeps what belongs to him, William replied, kissing Leo's forehead. The touch made Leo's skin crawl. The gala was a blur of flashing lights and fake laughter. William kept a hand firmly on the small of Leo's back, a silent reminder of the leash. Stay here. Don't move, William ordered when a senator pulled him aside for a private word. Leo watched him walk a few feet away. This was his only chance. He began to back into the crowd, his heart drumming against his ribs. Suddenly, a hand grabbed his arm and pulled him behind a heavy velvet curtain. Easy, little bird, a voice whispered. It was Julian. Julian. Please, you have to help me get out of here, Leo begged, clutching the man's sleeve. Julian smirked, looking over Leo's shoulder at the distant figure of his brother. Help you. I'm doing something much better. I'm going to take you to a place William can't reach. Not because I care about you, but because watching him lose his mind when he realizes you're gone, that's a show I wouldn't miss for the world. I don't care why. Just take me away from him. Julian led Leo through the service exit, but as they reached the black sedan waiting in the alley, a voice boomed through the cold night air. Leo. William stood at the exit, his shadow long and menacing. His composure was gone, his hair was disheveled, and his eyes were wide with a frantic, obsessive panic. He looked like a man watching his soul walk away. Get in the car, Leo. Julian yelled, shoving him toward the door. If you step in that car, Leo, the consequences will be absolute. William roared, sprinting toward them. I will burn this city to the ground to find you. Leo looked at the dark car, then at the man who had destroyed his father and now claimed to love him. He felt like he was choosing between two different kinds of darkness. I'd rather be anywhere but with you. Leo yelled back, diving into Julian's car just as the engine roared to life. As the car sped away, Leo looked through the back window. William was standing in the middle of the rain-slicked street, his face contorted in a scream of pure, agonizing rage. He wasn't giving up, he was just beginning the hunt. The sedan tore through the rain, the tires screeching as Julian took corners with a reckless grin. Inside, Leo was hyperventilating, his hands shaking so violently he had to sit on them. He looked back, half expecting William to be sprinting behind them like a ghost in the dark. Relax, kid, Julian chuckled, glancing in the rearview mirror. He's fast, but he's not faster than a V12 engine. Though I have to say, I've never seen my brother look so unhinged. You really broke the Ice King. He killed my father's spirit, Leo whispered, his voice thick with tears. He doesn't love me. He just wants to own me. Julian's smile didn't reach his eyes. In the Vance family, own and love are the same word. But don't worry. You're safe with me. For now. Julian pulled into a secluded, concrete-heavy industrial loft on the outskirts of the city. It was the polar opposite of William's velvet-lined penthouse. It was cold, metallic, and smelled of oil and cigarettes. Stay here. I need to make some calls, Julian said, tossing his keys on a metal table. Leo sat on a hard chair, feeling the weight of the night. He looked at a television in the corner. Every news channel was scrolling a breaking headline. Financial titan William Vance declares emergency, offers massive reward for information on missing companion. William wasn't just looking for him. He had put a literal bounty on Leo's head. He was treating a human being like a stolen briefcase. An hour later, Leo overheard Julian on the balcony. He crept closer, his breath hitching. Yeah, I have him, Julian was whispering into his phone. He's fine. No, I don't want the reward money, you idiot. I want the board seats. Give me the proxy votes for the merger, and I'll tell you exactly which warehouse to pick him up from. William is desperate, he'll sign anything to get his sparrow back. Leo felt his stomach drop. He wasn't being saved, he was being used as a bargaining chip. To Julian, he was just a way to hurt William. To William, he was a possession to be recovered. He looked around the room. He had to run. Again. Before Leo could reach the door, the sound of a helicopter blade began to thump overhead, shaking the very foundation of the loft. Bright spotlights flooded the windows, turning the night into an artificial day. The front door didn't just open, it was breached. William stepped through the smoke and dust, looking like a vengeful god. His suit was ruined by the rain, his hair plastered to his forehead, and his eyes were bloodshot. Behind him stood a dozen men in black tactical gear, but William pushed past them, his gaze locked onto Leo. Julian, William said, his voice a low, terrifying hum. I should kill you for touching him. Julian stepped back, his cocky attitude evaporating. Hey, it was just business, Will. I was taking care of him for you. William didn't even look at his brother. He walked straight to Leo, who was backed into a corner. William reached out, his hands trembling, not with fear, but with an obsessive, terrifying relief. Did he hurt you? William asked, his voice cracking. He reached for Leo's face, but Leo slapped his hand away. Don't touch me, Leo screamed. You're both the same. You're both monsters. William's expression shifted from relief to a dark, jagged pain that quickly curdled into something much more dangerous. He grabbed Leo by the waist, lifting him off his feet despite Leo's kicking and screaming. I told you, William whispered into Leo's ear, his grip bruisingly tight. I would burn this city to find you. You thought Julian was an escape. There is no escape from me. I will build a wall around you so high that you'll forget the sun even exists. You are mine, Leo. By blood, by debt, and by fire. I'll never love you. Leo sobbed as William carried him toward the waiting helicopter. I don't need your love tonight, William said, his eyes flashing with a haunting, passionate madness. I only need your presence. We're going to a place where no brothers, no roommates, and no ghosts of fathers can find us. The hum of the helicopter faded, replaced by the rhythmic, haunting sound of waves crashing against jagged cliffs. William's private island was a paradise designed by a devil, a sprawling estate of white marble and glass isolated in the middle of the dark ocean. There were no phones, no internet, and no way out except through William. Leo sat by the edge of a massive infinity pool, staring at the horizon. He hadn't spoken a word in 4 days. He wore a thin white silk shirt, another gift from his captor, that fluttered in the salty breeze. William watched from the balcony above, a glass of amber liquid in his hand. He looked thinner, his obsession having replaced his need for food or sleep. He descended the stairs, his footsteps silent on the stone. He sat on the lounge chair beside Leo, reaching out to touch the boy's hair. This time, Leo didn't flinch. He didn't move at all. He was like a statue. Eat something, Leo, William murmured, his voice uncharacteristically soft. The chef made the lemon tart you liked. I had the ingredients flown in from the mainland this morning. Why don't you just kill me? Leo asked, his voice hollow. You killed my father's heart. You might as well finish the job with mine. William's grip tightened on his glass until the knuckles turned white. I told you. I will spend the rest of my life making it up to you. I've set up a trust in your father's name. $10 million to the bakery guild. His name will be on every storefront in the city. Leo finally turned, his eyes burning with a cold, sharp hate. You think you can buy a soul back? You think a plaque on a wall fixes the fact that he died crying because of you? You're not a man, William. You're a hollow shell trying to fill yourself up with me. William stood, pulling Leo up by the arms. The calm mask shattered. He slammed Leo back against a marble pillar, his body pinning the smaller boy in place. Maybe I am hollow, William shouted, his breath hot against Leo's face. But you are the only thing that makes me feel like I'm not a ghost. I look at you and I see everything I destroyed and everything I want to be. You think I'm going to let you go just because you're sad? I'd rather keep you here in tears for 50 years than let you smile for another man for 1 second. Leo looked up at him, and for the first time, he saw the cracks. William wasn't just a villain, he was a man spiraling into a madness he couldn't control. You're pathetic, Leo whispered. William's eyes darkened. Am I? He kissed Leo then, not the desperate kiss from the street, but something slow, deep, and suffocating. It was a kiss that demanded Leo acknowledge the bond between them, a bond forged in pain and possessiveness. To Leo's horror, his own body betrayed him, his heart racing not just from fear, but from the sheer, overwhelming intensity of being the sole focus of such a powerful man's world. A woman in a sharp gray suit approached the terrace. Elena, William's head of security and the only person who dared to speak to him as an equal. Sir, Elena said, her voice a flat monotone. The authorities are asking questions. Julian is talking to the press. He's claiming you've kidnapped a citizen. Even your influence has limits. William didn't pull his gaze from Leo. Then expand the limits. Buy the news stations. Pay Julian double whatever he wants to shut his mouth. If anyone comes near this island, sink their boat. William, Elena sighed, looking at Leo with a flicker of pity. You can't hide him forever. The world is looking. The world can look all it wants, William growled, lifting Leo into his arms as if he were made of glass. They will never find him. He is the secret I am taking to my grave. As William carried him back toward the house, Leo noticed something. A small, silver key sat on the side table where Elena had been standing. She had looked at Leo and then looked at the key. It wasn't an accident. Leo looked at Elena. She gave a microscopic nod before turning away. William noticed nothing. He was too busy burying his face in Leo's neck, whispering promises of a life together, of a love that was a prison, and a passion that would eventually burn them both to ash. The marble halls of the island estate felt like a tomb. Leo lay in the center of the massive bed, his eyes fixed on the silver key he had hidden beneath his pillow. He realized now that escaping William wasn't just about physical distance, it was about breaking the man's psychological grip. If William wanted a doll, Leo would give him one. But this doll would have a knife behind its back. That evening, for the first time, Leo didn't fight when the doors opened. William entered, expecting the usual cold shoulder or a glass thrown his way. Instead, he found Leo sitting by the vanity, wearing a silk robe William had bought him, brushing his hair with a vacant, soft expression. "Leo?" William asked, his voice cautious, almost hopeful. Leo turned and offered a small, practiced smile. It didn't reach his eyes, but to a man blinded by obsession, it was everything. "I'm tired of fighting, William. The island is beautiful. And you've been so generous." William was across the room in a heartbeat. He dropped to his knees, clutching Leo's hands as if they were holy relics. "You mean that? You're finally seeing that everything I do is for you." "I see that I have nowhere else to go," Leo whispered, leaning down to press a soft, lingering kiss to William's forehead. He felt William shudder beneath him. "But if I'm to stay, I can't be a prisoner. I want to help you. I want to know about the business. I want to see the man the rest of the world sees." William looked up, his eyes glassy with a terrifying adoration. "Anything. I'll show you everything. You'll be my partner, Leo. My king." Over the next week, the dynamic shifted. William, desperate to keep this new, compliant, Leo, began bringing his laptop to the bedroom. He showed Leo the digital architecture of the Vance empire. He shared passwords, bank codes, and the locations of his private servers. "This is the heart of it," William said one night, pointing to an encrypted file labeled Project Phoenix. "This is how I handled the acquisitions, including your father's block. It's all here. The evidence of every move I've ever made." Leo traced the screen with a trembling finger. "It's incredible, William. You're so powerful." While William was distracted by the praise, Leo's other hand was in his pocket, fingering the silver key Elena had left. He knew Elena was watching. She wasn't helping him out of kindness, she was helping him because William's obsession was making him a liability to the company. At 3 a.m., William finally fell into a deep, exhausted sleep, his arm draped possessively over Leo's waist. Very slowly, inch by inch, Leo slid out from under him. He replaced his body with a bolster pillow, holding his breath as William stirred but didn't wake. Leo crept out of the room and met Elena in the darkened hallway. "You have the data," Elena whispered, her face a mask of iron. "I have the passwords," Leo said, his voice cold. "I'm going to do to him what he did to my father. I'm going to take his name, his money, and his pride. I don't just want to leave, Elena. I want to destroy him." Elena handed him a satellite phone and a flash drive. "The boat is at the north dock. You have 20 minutes before the guard rotation cycles. After that, you're on your own." The wind howled as Leo reached the water's edge. He jumped into the small skiff, fumbling with the engine. "Going somewhere, my love." The voice was like a gunshot. Leo froze. William stood on the pier, silhouetted against the moonlight. He wasn't screaming. He wasn't running. He looked devastated, a man who had handed someone his heart only to watch them stomp on it. "You used me," William said, his voice trembling with a lethal mix of heartbreak and fury. "The smiles, the kisses, it was all a lie. Just like your love was a lie." Leo shouted over the waves, finally starting the engine. "You didn't love me, William. You loved a shadow. You loved the power you had over me. I gave you everything." William roared, stepping onto the edge of the dock, looking like he might jump into the churning black water.